Vasistha continued, O Ram, they who are established in the state of liberation, as pointed out by the scriptures, surely cross this ocean of world appearance as their consciousness flows towards the self. But they who are caught in the net of polemics, which are only productive of sorrow and confusion, forfeit their own highest good. Even in the case of the path shown by the scriptures, only one's direct experience leads one along the safest way to the supreme goal. There's quite a lot here to consider. I feel I'm being a little bit controversial when I talk about liberation as a practice. It's generally assumed that it's a kind of one-off event, and once you're liberated, you've broken through to some sort of transcendental bliss. That's quite a nice story, it's quite a nice romance, but it seems to me that we can understand a lot of what's being said about liberation in the Yoga Vasistha in other ways. There's certainly a moment when the light goes on, and at that moment it's like the penny drops. I described it as a sense of relief. The Buddha described it that way. It's like putting down a big weight that you hadn't realised that you were carrying. And not only that, things like these scriptures start to make some sort of sense. I struggled with the Yoga Vasistha for years. I felt there was something profound about it. There was some great wisdom in it, but I didn't have a clue. I struggled with it. I tried to comprehend it. I tried to understand it. It was just baffling. You know, what on earth is this? Is it just crazy rambling? There seemed to be more to it than that, but I couldn't see what it is. And then one day the light went on, and everything fell into place. And as I say, there was this tremendous sense of relief. I felt I wasn't a seeker anymore. I found something, and but that wasn't the end of it. You know, there's this memory. You know, I've noticed some teachers. I wonder if they're talking from that essential point, or whether they're talking from a memory of their own feelings at that light going on. And this is when what I think it means by polemics here. You start talking about liberation and enlightenment, and you're not actually talking from that place anymore, because it takes an effort to keep turning the attention back to that place. And that's the impression I get here. The impression that's in this paragraph isn't that it's a one-off state. It's saying those who are established in the state of liberation surely cross this ocean of world appearance as their consciousness flows towards the self. That's when the attention flows back in itself. And that is something, that sense of flow is ongoing. It requires ongoing effort. And if you start thinking about liberation and enlightenment and paths to it, then this is the net of polemics, which are only productive of sorrow and confusion. And as it says, the last part of this paragraph, one's direct experience leads one along the safest way to the supreme goal. In other words, it's something you have to do yourself and realise for yourself. And don't get caught up in notions and ideas about it. What else is left of a greedy man except a handful of ashes? But he who looks upon the world as less viable than a blade of grass never comes to grief. In other words, we've got to have the conviction that there's nothing out there which is going to provide us with ultimate satisfaction. We still engage with it and do what we have to do, but we are not emotionally, we haven't got our emotional needs reaching out there for some sort of satisfaction, or even our deepest longing. Yeah, I think we can have emotional needs like we have physical needs. Yeah, these could be satisfied, but we're never going to get that ultimate satisfaction from the world or the world appearance. He who has fully realized the infinite is protected by the cosmic deities. Now that's a nice one, isn't it? Cosmic deities. We haven't got any deities in particular mentioned, and there's plenty that the author could have chosen here. But he just says cosmic deities, and it's a notion, the notion of cosmic deities. And I think this is actually a notion that we can make work for us. I mean, I'm kind of been quite strict about this, about bypassing notions and so on. But I think sometimes we can use them to make them work for us. And this idea of cosmic deities is a way of appreciating that there are great intelligences involved here. And it also gives a sense of working in harmony with the cosmos. That there's benevolence there, there's support for what is going on. And I kind of have this, I like to think about this support for me doing these videos even, and getting through the Yoga Vasistha. I feel there's actually a cosmic task here, and it's a notion, it's a belief, but it's quite an uplifting one, and it helps move things along. So I certainly feel protected by the cosmic deities, that the gods are happy in what I'm doing. Although I'm not going to get into that too literally, but there is a sense of protection by the cosmic deities. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank them. Hence, one should not set foot on the wrong path even in times of great distress. Yeah, you don't lose the plot. Don't lose the plot. And I'd be losing the plot if I get caught up in these notions of cosmic deities, rather than just touching on it lightly. He who has earned a good reputation through a virtuous life gains whatever has not been gained, and is rid of misfortune. Only he can be considered a human being who is not complacent with his own virtue, who is devoted to the teaching he has heard, and who strives to tread the path of truth. Others are animals in human disguise. It doesn't matter how, it can be a problem if you're regarded as a great human being, because you might become complacent. You need to, so it says you're not complacent with your own virtue. You need to be focusing on truth no matter what your situation or condition. He who is filled with the milk of human kindness is surely the abode of the Lord Hari, who is said to dwell in the ocean of milk. So we've been hearing about somebody who lives a virtuous life and so on. And but the real virtue comes from looking for the truth, or turning towards the truth, and in that you could say divine virtues naturally follow.